Lil Durk's legal team is working on some pretty creative ways to get him out of jail in 2025. One of the main strategies they're pushing is that his lyrics, which prosecutors have been using against him, were actually misunderstood. His lawyers, taking a page from the YSL trial playbook, told the court that what Durk rapped about wasn't self-snitching, but rather a twisted interpretation of his words. So Durk backed this up. Durk's producer made a big move in the M for Hire case. He stated that the song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, which prosecutors said mentioned the tragic passing of Lil PAB, was actually recorded 7 months before it even happened. The producer even submitted the project files to prove it. The prosecutors had pointed to certain lyrics in Durk's songs, like one that talked about someone screaming no on the news, and tried to connect it to Quando Rondo being at a crime scene. They thought it was an obvious admission, but Durk's team said it was just describing emotions someone might feel when seeing a tragedy, not a confession to a crime. They also brought up another line from his song, Told Me They Got an Addy, Go Got the Location. This raised some eyebrows, but Durk's team said this wasn't about a crime, it was about loyalty. Rick Baby, a close associate, confirmed that he would have shared Quando Rondo's location with Durk if asked, just out of respect and loyalty to him. In the end, Durk's legal team is saying that these lyrics were either misunderstood or taken out of context and not an actual confession to anything illegal. The case has become a complicated web of words, emotions, and loyalty, and Durk's team is determined to make sure that the truth comes out.
Then it's people like, you lined up somebody from your hood. Like, listen, I didn't. But at the end of the day, what's wrong?
Rick Baby has already spoken up, saying there's no real connection between the lyrics and the crime. He made it clear that everything Durk said was just hypothetical and he's not planning to snitch on him. But let's be honest, when you hear lyrics about Quando Rondo screaming, it feels like one of the wildest coincidences ever. And of course, the prosecutors weren't going to let that slide without a fight. In a dramatic moment in court, they hit back with something big. Over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, including audio, video recordings, and surveillance footage. On top of that, they've got 200 pages of reports they're working through to build their case. Things just took a serious turn, and it's clear they've got some heavy ammo. But it doesn't stop there. DJ Academics stirred the pot too, revealing that Lil Durk's albums might actually be like a roadmap to the crimes he's allegedly been involved in. With all this new evidence coming to light, the tension in this case is only growing, and we're left wondering what the next move will be. Buckle up, because this legal drama is just getting started.
Vaughn, 2021 his brother dies. 2022 the niggas who
If you've been rooting for Lil Durk's release, this story is about to take a wild turn. It's almost like he created his own roadmap, one that points to revenge and maybe even a way to heal. But the hard evidence is piling up and is making things way more complicated. Today in court, things got even more intense. They revealed that Lil Durk's longtime co-defendant in the M for Hire case, OTF's own, might be considering a plea deal. But here's the shocking part. The case involving Lil PAB's passing isn't the only one linking Durk to some serious stuff. There are other cases starting to come out that involve members of OTF, and it looks like OTF-DD is trying to get as far away from it as possible. But the real kicker, the feds believe Lil Durk paid to have 2 people dealt with. First, Stephon Mack, who they say was involved in the death of Durk's brother. Then there's OTF Jam's baby mama, who tragically passed away after Lil Durk found out she had been wearing a wire. The feds think OTF Jam is the key to everything, believing he could be the one to tie Lil Durk to these 3 crimes. They even brought up an Instagram live video where Durk and other OTF members noticed Jam acting suspicious, whispering, and holding the top of his jacket. The feds believe that was a sign he was wearing a wire. With all this new evidence coming to light, it seems like Durk's legal battle is far from over. The more we learn, the more questions pop up. This case is shaping up to be one of the biggest stories of the year, so stay tuned. It's just getting started. It's almost like Lil Durk is trying to see if all these pieces fit together, like he's looking back at everything that's happened. But with each new twist, it's clear this case is getting even more complicated. The prosecutors aren't making it easy for him. They're working hard to make sure the judge sees all the evidence that could stop Durk from getting bond. One of the latest bombs dropped was about a recently unsealed file from a Chicago case. In this file, Durk is allegedly linked to the passing of Stephon Mack. The feds believe Mack was targeted for revenge after the death of Durk's brother, D-Thing. While Durk hasn't officially been charged yet, his name has been popping up in court documents, and prosecutors are using that to their advantage as they prepare for his detention hearing. What made things even worse for Durk was when the prosecutors presented his Instagram story in court. In the post, Durk writes, "For D-Thing," with laughing emojis, and the timing is shocking. It was posted just after Stephon Mack tragically passed away. It's hard to ignore how these posts look in the context of everything going on. With each new piece of evidence coming to light, the pressure is building. The prosecutors are doing everything they can to make sure Durk has a tough road ahead in this case, and the more that's revealed, the more intense this legal battle becomes. Stay tuned. This story is far from over, and it seems like it's only going to get more dramatic from here.
Just said, five Chicago gang members with ties to Lil Durk, OTF, accused of being hired.
The timeline of events just keeps getting crazier. Remember that Instagram story where Lil Durk was laughing? Well, it turns out it was posted on the same day Stephon Mack tragically passed away. But that's just the start of the mess Durk's in. Things got even worse when more evidence came to light, and it wasn't just small stuff. It's big, game-changing information. One of the most shocking moments came from Brick Baby, who went on an interview and made a huge statement. He said, "You can't say Lil Durk never slid for King Von anymore." He then pointed out how Lil Pat basically snitched on Durk live in front of 1,000 viewers. It's not looking good. The feds are now looking into 5 gang members with ties to Durk's OTF, all accused of being hired to target Quando Rondo and others. These guys could face serious charges if convicted, but the big question is, was this just an attempt or was it something worse? And then things got even more intense when Brick Baby started talking about FBG Cash, who's now facing federal charges in California. The feds are piecing everything together, and it's clear they're looking closely at Durk. During a live stream, Brick Baby had to relive the moment when he made it clear that Durk's name was tied to all of this, drawing even more federal attention to him. Now, with all this going down, the feds are uncovering even more evidence and getting closer to Durk. It feels like the walls are closing in on him, and this legal battle is only getting more complicated. You won't want to miss what happens next. This story is just heating up. The situation around Lil Durk just keeps getting more intense. Rumor has it that King Von was actually jewelry shopping with 2 of the suspects involved in this case, DD and Boogie. This connection raises a lot of questions, especially since Von's tragic passing is still fresh. It makes sense that these 2 suspects might have been seeking revenge for King Von, which only adds to the drama surrounding Durk. But it gets even crazier. Sources are saying that Lil Durk's fast prison transfer happened because of issues inside his cell block. Being a high profitable rapper, Durk became a target for other inmates looking to get to him, especially when it comes to commissary and money. The pressure on him is real, and things are getting tough. Then, just when you think it can't get weirder, Quando Rondo and his best friend Lil Tim did separate interviews where they both said the exact same thing. It almost felt like they were reading from the same script. Lil Tim even said that the whole situation with King Von should have been avoided, and that Durk never should have thrown away his future by seeking revenge for a beef that he and Quando had already moved past. The timing of this feels like it's all part of a bigger plan, and it's hard to ignore the weird coincidences linking everything together. It's safe to say that Durk's life is about to get a lot more complicated as this all unfolds. Quando Rondo and Lil Tim really opened up in their interviews, showing a lot of regret over what happened with King Von. Quando shared how he felt when he first found out Von was the one who passed away. He said that if his brother had just made different choices that night, Von might still be here today. Instead of getting caught up in anger, he chose to stay humble. He made it clear he wasn't trying to disrespect anyone or use this situation for clout. He said, "I'm a humble person, I'm not here for all that drama." Then, on the same day, Lil Tim gave another interview saying he wished everything could have been handled differently. He expressed how Durk shouldn't have risked everything for revenge, especially since he's got a family that depends on him. Durk has kids, a mom who loves him, and so much more to live for. Tim said that all this back and forth and violence is just pointless. It could have been avoided if they'd taken a step back. Both Quando and Lil Tim's words show how deep the regret goes and how much they wish things had gone a different way. It's a reminder that actions have consequences, and sometimes taking a different path could have saved a lot of pain. Imagine if everything had gone down a different way. What if it had been handled with a song and $4 million instead of all the drama? It's wild to think about how things could have worked out if it was all kept in the music world, but instead it just spiraled, and Lil Durk's lyrics about Quando Rondo seemed to bring even more attention to the situation. Things got out of hand, and now Durk's life behind bars is a whole lot harder. My guest this week on GWRK is a full lot harder than ever. Durk's entire military career was on display behind bars is a whole lot harder than ever. Durk's entire military career he's stuck in a county jail with conditions that are pretty rough, much like what we saw with YNW Melly. Some people, like Charleston White, think that if you've taken a life, you shouldn't expect to be treated well in prison. He even went as far as saying, if you take a life, you lose the right to complain about how you're treated. Still, Durk's lawyers aren't giving up. They managed to find a reason to argue for his release in 2025. What happened next is crucial. His co-defendant, Otani, asked for protective custody when they were in court together. This move got people talking and gave Durk's legal team something new to work with, opening up fresh chances for him to make it out sooner. With everything that's happened, it's clear this whole situation is far from over, and the twists just keep coming. Lil Durk's best friend, Bezu, was clearly upset and spoke his mind on Instagram Live. And he was tired of all the rumors and accusations, saying, I don't know what's going on, but people in those courtrooms need to stop with these false accusations. Y'all acting like y'all know everything, but you don't. Y'all just be out here acting like detectives, but y'all don't know the truth. First, it's the JM rumors. Not only do people think it's true, then there's the sexuality rumors. Like, then y'all say someone's snitching, but none of y'all actually know what's happening. That's why I stay away from anything illegal, because y'all are out here trying to get people locked up. Things got even more complicated when DJ Academics jumped in, causing a lot of confusion. He talked about Von allegedly snitching, and that only made things worse. But then, Academics gave a hint of what he thought was really going on. He said, when you see Flo post something, you've got to stop and think twice about it. Look at this headline. Lil Durk found out his co-defendant, OTA, Vonnie. That comment sparked even more questions, leaving people wondering what was really going down behind the scenes. It's clear that the drama surrounding Lil Durk is only getting messier and harder to figure out. When King Vong's cousin asked for protective custody in court, it caught a lot of people off guard. Honestly, that's why we have streams like this, to break things down and really understand what's going on. Now, I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus or pretend I'm perfect. We all slip up sometimes, but I try to keep it real and always aim to be accurate. It's important to dig into the details and make sure we get the full picture because, let's face it, headlines are often way more dramatic than the truth. In this case, Lil Durk knew Von didn't snitch, but he didn't want people online attacking him over it. That's when he made a phone call from jail, letting everyone know he wasn't going into protective custody. However, what's interesting is that it was actually Vonnie who was asking for it, not Durk. In the update, it said, just got off the phone with my brother Lil Durk. He's doing well, staying positive, and just wants to get back to his family and kids. This shows us that things aren't always as they seem on the surface, and there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what people might think. We're not here to hype up any negativity. We're more than just street guys. Honestly, that's an understatement. We live by a code of honor, no matter how much money we have. At the end of the day, we're men who stand by what's right. And that means facing the same struggles as everyone else. No special treatment, no hiding out. We stand tall. This call is from a federal prison, and I'm sticking by what I said. I know, some people might be shocked by that, but if you need anything, I've got you. I get it. I know how this all works. It's never been about money for us, even though, sure, the first time, it was about money. After that, though, it's all about loyalty. Lil Durk made it clear he wasn't going into protective custody, but at the same time, he couldn't publicly say Vonnie wasn't snitching. So Durk took the step to say he wasn't going into protective custody himself, but things were still a little unclear. Then, Academics came into the picture and said that phone call might have been the worst thing Durk could have done, but he had to have Vonnie's back. Even though it raised some questions, Durk made it clear he was standing with Vonnie, showing respect no matter what. And no matter what anyone says, Durk's decision was about loyalty, not about the drama. So here's the thing, Lil Durk is in a tough spot fighting for his freedom, and while a lot of people might not understand why he's doing what he's doing, it's all about survival. You see, when you're in a situation like this, everything you do gets blown up in the media. Even a simple conversation can go viral, and that's the last thing you want when you're trying to keep things low-key. Durk tried to set the record straight, telling the public that he doesn't care about money and doesn't move off it, but when you say things like that, it just doesn't sound right. People pick up on it and it can be misinterpreted, especially when you're in such a high-pressure situation. But here's where things start to shift. There is some hope for Durk because his lawyers are pulling out all the stops. Another lawyer, Brad Foreignen, who represents Kodak Black, has publicly said that Durk might actually beat the revenge case involving King Von and Quando Rondo. But here's the catch. It all depends on whether anyone from OTF, Durk's crew, testifies. If they do, that could change everything for him. The lawyer talking about Lil Durk's case is being cautious when it comes to saying if the feds have a strong case or not. He points out that they've found a text from Durk where he says, "Don't have them associate my name with any kind of flights they're taking," which definitely raises some eyebrows. But he also says that it's not enough to make a solid case against Durk. One text isn't going to prove everything. It's just one piece of the puzzle and doesn't stand on its own. The lawyer goes on to explain that this text is circumstantial evidence, meaning it's not directly linked to the crime. If the feds had something like a confession, a video, or audio of Durk saying something that could tie him to a crime, that would be different. But for now, this text alone isn't enough. Right now, it's still early in the case, and the feds might not have enough solid proof to make their case. There's still a chance that Durk's lawyers could fight this and maybe even get the case dismissed. The whole situation is still up in the air, and there's a lot more to come before anything is decided. The lawyer explained that Lil Durk's chance of getting released depends a lot on whether someone decides to cooperate with the authorities. If the U.S. attorney and prosecutors are really determined to get him, they might offer deals to people who aren't as involved in the case. These deals are attractive to those who have less to lose. In cases like this, they usually go after the low-hanging fruit, the ones who aren't as deeply involved or who didn't do the worst actions. These people are more likely to flip and help the authorities in exchange for a deal. If one person doesn't take the deal, the feds will just move on to the next person who might cooperate. It's not just about money, though. The indictment could also be about career advancement. The feds are looking for anyone who might have information to offer that could help bring down bigger players in the situation, so they'll keep offering deals to the least involved people, hoping someone talks. This whole process shows how much power prosecutors have in making deals to build their case and try to get the bigger players.